Well, these are the spuds I planted back in February time. Planted them indoors, and they're still indoors in this little lean-to thing we have with a glass roof. As you can see, they've come up. Could probably do with a bit of earthing up. They are a little bit leggy because it's not the brightest place in here, but I'll probably take these over to the polytunnel in a week or so. And we'll see how they get on. Should get a few early spuds. So I'll just take you now and have a look at the some of the daft giant carrots and tomatoes and bits and pieces. These are the lights that I used to grow my onions under for the last few years, and this year I'm growing some carrots in them, some giant carrots. I've got them in like 4-inch drain pipes, big wide drain pipes. I've been growing these since February, and as you can see they're a fair old size now, and I'll still grow them inside for another 2 weeks or so until the soil warms up. And the idea is you get them to grow right down to the bottom, and then hopefully you want them to split into all sorts of legs and stuff when you plant them out. So well, I'm just doing it for a laugh. It's just a bit of fun, really. Got a few peppers and chilies, and these are my giant tomatoes, which I didn't think would germinate because they're about 5-year-old, these seeds. So they've just germinated. I don't know whether you can see the label. That's from a 5.5 pound tomato. So that should be another bit of fun. I'll just plant some of those in the soil in the polytunnel and see if we can grow a giant tomato this year. So like I said, I've never tried it before. These were just some odd seeds I got given years ago, and I've threw them all in thinking none would germinate, and as you can see they've all germinated. So there's different ones from different size ones. So I'll plant about 4 of those and see if we get a giant tomato. Well, hi folks, here we are up at the plot now. Glorious evening after work. I'll just give you a quick look round, show you what's going on. Main bed, all I've got in here is my garlic, but I don't know whether you can see, I've got absolutely 100% well, not germination, but sproutage. Every single one of my 60 bulbs are planted, cloves are planted, have come up, so that's a good one. It's quite novel because usually you get an odd one that's missed out, so happy with that. Right, these are my spuds this year, well 20 odd of them in the pots. I planted them in this sort of arrangement because I did them in rows last year, but the ones in the middle I couldn't get to water them. So at least this way I can water them all the way around the edges. And I'll just have a bit of just tell you something about some of the varieties I've got this year. I've got about 5 different types of sarpos this year because I was contacted by a non-profit organisation called the Sarvari Trust, who are the main breeders of the sarpo varieties. They try to breed all sorts of different sarpo varieties with different eating qualities and things, but all with the same extremely high blight resistance. So I was kind enough to have been given a few of those to try. And I've got my sarpo Miras as always. I'm trying some sarpo Axonas, some sarpo Shonas, sarpo Unas, and there's some sarpo, no, what were they called? They were called Blue Danube as well. So I think there was maybe 5 or 6 different varieties. But I'll put a link to their site. It's the Sarvari Trust. But I'll put a link in the description. And like I say, they're the main breeders of all these different sarpo varieties. And it'll be interesting to see what they're like, because they'll all have the same decent blight resistance, very good blight resistance, but with different eating qualities. There's actually some first early ones, and then if you leave those, they get on to being enormous baking potatoes by the sounds of it. So it'll be interesting to see how we get on with those. We'll just have a bit of a wander into polytunnel. It's a bit of a mess because I just need to tidy it up. Right, I've actually managed to get some giant onions this year. I've just got I got 3 off a bloke from Durham. It was kind enough to offer me them, and I couldn't say no, could I? And they're looking really good. Looking as big, or if not bigger than the ones I grew last year myself. But the only trouble is this year is, last year I got a lot of vine weevil, so I've grown them in these half barrels, and I've put, if you look, all this insect barrier glue all the way around. So there's no way the little vine weevil can climb up and lay its eggs in amongst the roots. And I'm also going to get some of these nematode worms and water all the soil in all the beds to try and kill off any remaining little grubs that there are lurking in the soil, if any. What I forgot, these are the gutter peas I sowed the other day. It's only about 6 days later, so obviously nothing's come up. Another one of the onions there. I've actually had to put some fleece over it because it's been that hot in the last day or two. I don't want to scorch the leaves. A few bits and pieces now coming through. These are just some of the lettuce, just germinated. little gems, multi-green, and some webs. If I wander around here. These are cabbages and brassicas and kale and things like that. Again, they're just starting to form the first sort of sets of decent true leaves. So it should be probably about the end of this month before they start going out in the garden. I have to sow some more shallots, banana shallots, because the first ones had a bit of a few misfires really. I'll just show you those in a sec. They're the leeks, but these are the banana shallots, the first batch. I was only getting about 50% germination, and then you get one like that with a, with them full up. So it's a strange one, that. So anyway, I should have enough. I still should have about 130 or so. It's no big deal. And then this is where I'm going to be growing the carrots that I showed you before. I've just put these in because what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually slide the tube in that the carrots in, and we're going to make some special compost made out of really fine stuff, compost and vermiculite, so it's really well draining. And hopefully the idea is the carrot won't have any resistance from the soil. It's really light mixture and should grow stupidly large. That's the idea anyway. We'll give it a go. It's only a bit of fun. This bed is where I'm going to hopefully grow the giant tomatoes. I'll maybe get 4 plants in there. And then this is where the show onions are going to grow. It's just got all my old spare seed potatoes in it now at the moment, which all needs tidying up when they arrive. So I'm not growing many. I'm only going to put 24 in there, and they're only going to be sort of shop bought ones, so they won't be brilliant quality. So anyway, that's it in the polytunnel. A couple of giant onions. The reason I've put this plastic down on the bottom is just to keep the moisture in at the moment in the soil below. So that's about it in the polytunnel. Rhubarb's just starting to put a few leaves on, but it's not exactly anything to write home about. Look, it's not very vigorous, but at least it's growing, because it has only just warmed up really. Another bed, I'm going to grow my show potatoes in there and a few more pots. Here's one for Chris. I'm going to try and get 50 pound of potatoes out of a 45 litre pot with my special ingredients, which I'll divulge if it happens. So just wandering to the last bit. So everything's been might be a bit windy now, hang on. Everything's been tilled and fertilised. This is where I planted the shallots and onions the other week. Last week. They've all taken now. So it's just a matter of waiting until all the cabbages are ready and leeks and things, and get them all planted in, really. This is where I'm growing my carrots, my show carrots and parsnips. I've got a few. All my parsnips are up, thankfully. If you can see, it's just 4 parsnips in a barrel, so it's a bit of overkill, but there you go. This is where I'm growing my carrots and my long carrots. I've just sown those, so it'll be a good week or two before they're up. So I think that's about it, folks. Just a bit of a roundup about some of the giant stuff, some of the random stuff on a lovely night. I think I'm just going to sit here and wait for the curlews to start coming in. So that's about it, folks. See you later.